Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update on Wednesday, August 8th at 12:18 a.m. 2018. You're looking at a mock-up ebb and flow of Arctic ice sent in by one of our subscribers, Demon Nice. And it clearly shows, if you watch the flow through, how Arctic ice moves in a cyclic pattern. That over the last 2 decades, as global warming alarmists scream at the top of their lungs that we're burning up and the ice is going away, the ice always returns in the winter. It always melts in the summer, and it always comes back in the winter. And it always melts in the summer, and it always comes back in the winter. And on and on. And sometimes it's a lot, like 97 and 98. And sometimes it's a little, like the 2000s that we go into here in the beginning. Sometimes there's more ice off the Alaska coast, and sometimes there's more ice towards the Greenland area. But you can clearly see that the earth is breathing and that everything is normal. There's no catastrophic loss of anything except reality from the human race. Now, what is being lost and perpetrated by the brainwashing of the mainstream is that somehow this pattern that you're looking at here is catastrophic in some way, and it's all going away. And it is definitely not going anywhere. It is simply changing on a multi-decadal scale, where sometimes in the summer here in 2012, the ice extent is very small. But as you can see through 2013 and 2014, that the winter extent isn't as small as it was in 2012 ever. In fact, the winter extent is increasing. It's increasing in epic fashion because we're heading into a cooling period where ice is going to rapidly build in the Arctic region. And there is no catastrophic ice loss, folks. So come over here and subscribe to Damon Nice and give him a thumbs up, because that was some excellent footage, and that's the truth, and that's what we're all about on the channel. So guys, hold on to your horses. You've just entered Boomtown. Join us for the ride of your life. California's biggest wildfire ever, still growing. Cancels start of the school year. Oh my God, what will the kids think? California fire push projected containment of the 290,000 acre Mendocino complex of fires off until next month at the earliest. Yes. So they've already pushed containment off on this fire for a month. I don't know how you can say that unless you're totally a lazy motherfucker. We're not going to care about it for 30 days at least. And then we're going to try to contain it. We're having issues connecting. Welcome to the powers that be throttling your internet connection. Hail, high winds, pounds parts of Nebraska. We just reported on 4-inch hail, 5-inch hail yesterday in Colorado, killing animals at a wildlife preserve and injuring up to 20 people. Now, storm systems today pounded parts of Nebraska with high winds and damaging hail up to 4 inches, according to the National Weather Service. Reported Monday night in Perkins County across western Nebraska. Hail knocked out windows, damaged a house northeast of Lisco, and battered property elsewhere in the Panhandle. Are you smelling the uptick? Smells like hail. What in the God's name is happening? Bear with us. HSG first run. Have no idea why that's there. Hail damage in Utica. This is in Nebraska. Clearly a 1-foot accumulation against this guy's garage door here. Storms moved across parts of Nebraska Monday night, leaving behind storm damage, heavy hail up to 4 inches. Now, the National Weather Service has reported 1.5-inch hail, breaking windows and putting holes in siding in Utica. There are also reports of hail in Utica damaging trees, corn, and soybeans. Those are called crops, guys, which we need to eat. Now, here's the hail map for yesterday. When that massive hail fell in Denver, take a look at these statistics. Are you picking up what we're putting down? Here are the number of impacted households. 135,000 impacted by hail 1 inch or larger. 55,000 households impacted by hail 1.75 inches or larger. And 4,189 impacted by huge hail. Total of 15 square miles were decimated by baseballs or bigger. 96 square miles were decimated by 1.75 inch hail. And 244 square miles were decimated by 1 inch or larger hail. Thank you, hail maps. Now, CNN host was angered by the footage of hail in Colorado because she says some people don't think climate change is happening. Yeah, well, we do. We know climate change is happening. It's just not global warming. It's called a catastrophe. Cosmic ray flux causes volcanoes to erupt, erratic weather, extreme high temperatures, extreme lows, heavy snows, and glaciation will be quickly ensuing after 2035. And she's wondered why we don't believe in climate change? What pipe is she smoking? Not only that, this woman is not aware that hail falls in the summer. Now, here's her look. Here's the I can't believe they don't believe global warming is happening. Look at the look. What a shill. She disgusts me, first of all, because of her chin reconstruction, her fake cheeks, and this dye job. But look at the smarmy look. Look at this look. Like, I can't believe they're not paid as much as me to believe in the global warming. Let's take a look at it. Look at her eyes. Let's look at it. Let's all vomit together. Watch her. Yeah. I'm so clueless. My brain is totally empty. I get paid like 500 grand to wear this dress. I hope whoever married her, I feel sorry for you. Mr. Camarota, you gotta go to. Sunshine gives way to a soggy and potentially record-breaking week. This is Juneau, Alaska. Weather Service says 6 inches of rain could fall and totally flux Juneau by Friday. Not only that, as we predicted, and as many other paleoclimatologists know, July was the warmest ever recorded in Alaska, in Juneau, on the coast. And that's because the Pacific Ocean waters warm these coastal regions as we descend into the cooling period. Grain prices rise against wheat crop predicted lowest for 5 years. Look at the size of this machine that you need to own to harvest wheat, which is barely worth a penny. This thing costs $1.6 million. You know how much money these are generating? Zero. They're killing birds as they chop them up. This world has become an insane farce. EU vegetables' most serious crisis in 40 years. No one cares because Elon Musk is going to save us. He's going to go private. Yeah, I'm going to buy some of that stock. Not. Avalanche warning remains after bumper snowfall in Victorian Alps. Have you heard? It's snowing in the southern hemisphere, Al. In fact, Victoria's record-breaking snowfall continues with more than 40 centimeters falling since I blabbered about it yesterday. Some resorts are totally pants because they're millionaires, because the seasons are extended and it won't stop snowing. We predicted it to snow in these regions for 6 more weeks. That was yesterday. That means it's going to snow there for 5 more weeks and 6 more days. Now, massive snowfall has been recorded at resorts including Mount Buller, Falls Creek, with the Mount Hotham Resort rejoicing after more than 40 centimeters fell overnight after they only predicted 25. The resorts announced on Monday it was planning to extend its snow season until October 7th, with the base depth hitting a massive 154 centimeters. Unprecedented in these areas. And that is an avalanche slab. Seismic update. We have action in the volcanic mid-ocean ridge area. Yeah, we know. You're picking up what we're putting down. So in this region, just south and west of Svalbard, where we know there's known volcanic activity up in the northern regions of this ridge, as well as offshore here, due to temperature anomalies, we see more stacked seismic activity. I'm just saying. We also have some deep activity at the Columbian plate boundary, 148 kilometers at 5.4. We have some blot echo just north of New Zealand, potentially at 200 kilometers, 4.2. A 54 kilometer, 4.3. And we have a 5.5 in Japan happening. No other quakes of note that we really want to mention. 5.0 in the Philippines happening at a deep depth, could be followed by a larger quake in the same region. Heads up. Volcano news worldwide, Karymsky, Sakurajima, Ebeko, all erupting. Eating crickets can be good for your gut, according to the new clinical trial. Boom! Yes. I know, Ice Age Farmer. You were the first person to tell us that we're going to eat them. And now here's a scientific paper that says it's good for us. Now, we have crickets in our new geothermal greenhouse, and Leah came up to me about a month ago, and she's like, we got to grow these, man. They're everywhere, and they're fat and juicy, and they look delicious. So we're going to get on it, because eating crickets can be good for your gut, according to a new clinical trial coming out of the University of Wisconsin-Madison. What do you guys think about that? Boom! Yeah, that's what we think. That's a boom to crickets. Lunatic farmer warns of the rise of rogue food coming from Zero Hedge. Now, Joel Salatin is a personal friend, whether he knows it or not. Now, the food freedom movement is what I got involved in about 7 years ago. It started with picking apart Monsanto and revealing to the public the disgusting nature of this chemical empire that has started poisoning people back in 1902. Now, Joel Salatin used to just be an alternative farmer, but he's become an activist and a badass. And I love him. And he was part of the big East Coast push to expose Monsanto and to get organic farming back on track. But what happened was the powers that be have pushed back. And according to Joe, he's not optimistic about where the government and all its bureaucracy is headed. And neither are we at the channel. And in fact, it's all going down in Maine, where in maybe just a few months, all small-scale farms are going to get their foot stuck right up their ass by the U.S. government. But Joel has a different idea on how we can be self-sufficient. We can improve soils by small-scale organic farming that's biodynamic, self-sufficient. It improves the biome around the farm. Not like monocropping and the destructive nature of corporate farming that we have today. As attorneys find out about how little farmers get treated by SWAT teams that come in and confiscate their food and different things like that, there's a backlash to it. And now the beauty of the internet is that these things can be documented by iPhones. People can see the bureaucrat, the SWAT teams coming in and throwing out the perfectly good food from the freezer. They can see the raid. They can see people's rights being violated. And so there is definitely a backlash. It's a food freedom backlash in the country. And I've been an advocate of this all my life. I've always said, when Americans become as interested in defending their right to acquire food of their choice as they are of the gun of their choice, we're going to have a whole different food paradigm in this country. And that's a Joel Salatin boom. So buy your cheap ammo at Walmart, pick up your seeds, and fight back. Now check out the Battle of the Graphs. IPCC hockey stick on top. climatic changes in Europe due to tree ring data on bottom. So what you're looking at is scientific data on the bottom, IPCC dogma on the top. Now the top graph is based on nothing scientific. It's based on dozens of people's opinion on how to smooth out a graph to scare the shit out of the public to tax them. If you don't believe me, then you've just subscribed. There are years and years of documented information of the IPCC, NASA, and NOAA, as well as the BOM and other world-renowned climate groups changing data. And they're changing it to meet a dialogue. The hockey stick dialogue. Where all global warming alarmists get paid to do research that proves that this hockey stick exists. And the more the powers that be smooth out the past, the easier it is to create a fraud in the future. Now, unfortunately, unbiased scientists like myself and hundreds of others are well aware of data like this coming out daily. And this is new Sequoia data from the west coast of the US showing us proxy temperature data, of the last 2,000 years. Do you see what they're claiming is burning up here? This is the reality. This is their graph. Do you see this orange blip here? That's this warm period, compressed down into their fantasy. The medieval warm period in western USA tree rings and fire scars shows an unprecedented warming, which the IPCC denies. Now, they're denying science, and they call us science deniers. Who's full of shit? Not the Ice Age Farmer. Come over to iceagefarmer.com and you can see his latest blog post here. Tech censorship goes out of control as food shock looms. Don't believe me. I pulled the duct tape off tonight and I spoke to this man. And we're going to be talking about stuff that you cannot imagine tomorrow. I bet you want to know where he's moved out of. Why did he get out of Mendocino County? His house is just burned to the ground. Do you think he's picking up what we're putting down? He said he's all in. I want to know what that means. I'm sure you do. What does that mean, Christian? What does it mean that you're all in, dude? What does that mean? He's picking up what we're putting down. I mean, he traveled out here last year. This guy's the real deal. He wears a V-neck. I mean, that's sexy. And he's married. But more importantly, he's doing for us what we can't do for ourselves. And he's going out on a limb, and he's all in. He's going full self-sustainable like we are. It's not easy. It takes years. He's doing fences. He's realizing that acres of fences take years to install. And we're going to